All right, what's going on, everyone? So we're back today with another Raw Talk. Today, we got a special guest, and we also got the co-host, which is Jose. He's going to be part of this podcast going forward. So today we got, you want to introduce yourself?
Yep, my name's Roger, Rcv Media on Instagram, and yeah, I shoot videos. Yeah,
short.
that's straight to the point.
Let's get deeper into it. What do you film? What do you exactly do so people can know more about you as a creator?
So originally I kind of started with drone, so that's what I was known for, just doing aerial footage for real estate, commercials, and music videos. And now I do more music videos and just brand videos, kind of a little bit of everything, but my main bread and butter would be music videos.
If you don't mind me asking, what's one thing that you don't like about this industry?
Ooh, starting off with great questions here. Things I don't like about the industry. Well, I wouldn't say don't like. Well, I guess, yeah. I guess it's just when you're jumping into it, like a lot of things, like you don't really know where to start and kind of like building up from there. There's a certain point where you're kind of lost because you don't know the way to kind of get yourself out there and stuff like that. But I guess that would be the one thing.
So what?
Because everything else is like fun, you know, getting creative, you know, even like the struggles in it are fun.
So what got you into it? Like how did everything start for you as a creator? Like, you know, what job were you working prior? What made you make the jump? How did that go about?
So I was actually going to college. I was going to university. I was going to Cal State Fullerton for marine biology, like complete different field. And I was doing that. I was on my third year, and I don't know, something just hit me. I wasn't happy with what I was doing, so I just kind of dropped out and then picked up a drone. I don't even know how. I just saw this whole thing, this video with drones in it, and I just thought that was cool. So that's kind of what started me into filmmaking. But I told myself, I would never pick up a camera. Like I wasn't really interested in picking up a camera. I just wanted to fly drones. But then from there, working on set and seeing people, how they get creative and stuff like that, that kind of made me pick up a camera and kind of start just filming. And from there, I was like, well, I can probably start just as a side hustle. And I was doing the drone stuff for about 2 years, and I worked in marketing for 2 years after that because I wasn't able to make a full living just doing that. But then after 2 years doing the marketing, I was able to replace that income just filmmaking. So now it's been 2 years since I left that job. So I've been doing that now full-time 2 years.
In that moment, when you were, what marketing job was it, by the way?
I used to do marketing for a medical company.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what made you just decide it was time to quit your job and do this full-time? What was it that clicked, or what made you do it? Did you encounter anything like your family? Were they upset, scared for you, or tell me that little section, that little area of when you finally decided to, you know, make the jump?
Damn, that's crazy, bro. How I felt, or what was the question?
Just kind of like how everything turned out. Like, so what made you click to like, okay, today, you know what, I want to quit my job.
Okay, I see.
Was there certain things in filmmaking maybe you were booking or you were denying jobs because of your full-time job, or what? This is just for other creatives to take away, right. For other people that are kind of in the situation from the get-go. You know, like they're in the mix of like, should I quit?
Yeah.
Is it time? So talk to me about that, from, you know, going from your full-time, it was part-time job?
Full-time job.
So full-time job to quitting it and pursuing full-time filmmaking.
So I would say when I was doing my full-time job, I would drive an hour and a half to work and an hour and a half back on top of my full 8 to sometimes 10-hour shift. So I didn't really have too much time to myself. So as soon as I left that job, I would have to go on my shoots, and on the weekends I would have to go on my shoots. And I wasn't even booked to the point where I had to quit my job, really. I was booking and I was getting jobs, but the one thing that made me leave was when I did a music video in Italy with someone else. Like they had me go do the drone stuff for that, and I flew out to Italy. I did the drone shots for the music video. Shout out Piero, he's the one that was directing the video. And yeah, like that opened my eyes. I was like, whoa, like I'm in another country right now, and I'm like a beginner, but you know, that opened up a cool little opportunity, and that just opened my mind. And then when I got back to work, I was really cool with my boss at the time. I'm still cool with him to this day, actually. And I just told him like, hey, I'm gonna put in my 2 weeks, and you know, I must follow the filmmaking route. And he actually was like happy. He was like, oh, I'm glad you're telling me, because I kind of noticed that, you know, you're being distracted at work and stuff like that. So the one thing though, for people in that position, it's crazy, because you're kind of hooked on the fact that you have a sure check every week or every 2 weeks or whenever you get paid, and you don't want to leave that to jump into something that's unsure. And like, you can be booked and booked and booked and make X amount of money in a month, but then you don't know how the next month is going to be, especially when you're starting. Like, you don't have a strong client base, you know, you're just starting off. So I think that's the tough thing, but just having confidence in yourself and knowing you will figure it out is the biggest thing, like if you're in that position, for sure.
So last question before I pass it on to you. As far as, did you have any debt when you decided to just quit your full time to pursue it? Did you have a little savings? What was financially, and like, you know, were you ready? Or talk about a little bit about that.
So I had gotten a car, like, so I was just paying my car. Besides like bills and stuff, I was in debt with a car that I bought, but it wasn't too much. I bought the car for like $13,000. So that was the one thing that was kind of over my head besides rent and everything. And debt wise, like, I was always pretty good with credit cards. So I would use my credit and then pay it off, use my credit, pay it off. So at the time, I didn't really have any kind of crazy debt until I bought my gear, you know? So just buying the gear and everything, I was buying everything on Craigslist and like OfferUp. I would buy it used, like people sending it on Instagram and stuff. And then, so yeah, I didn't really have too much debt at the time. Now I kind of do have some debt.
No, that's pretty cool though. I mean, you did the smart thing. That's one thing I always tell people, because when I did it, my biggest issue was I quit being on debt. So when I started doing filmmaking, I kind of had to do jobs I didn't want to take because I had debt to pay off, instead of being clean slate where you walk into it and you can choose, you know, or you can at least have some flexibility whether to say yes or no on the jobs, because you don't need the money. Opposed to you already being on the negative side, you kind of got to push to like, yeah, I'll take it. So nah, it's pretty, it's good.
How did you feel when you jumped into it with the debt? How did you feel? I'm sure that's like you said, an extra stress on top of
stress. Yeah, it was. That's probably one thing I'll take away from the get go. If I could do things different, it'll be pay off my debt with the full-time job while also creating, and then walking into a clean slate. Cause yeah, gear gets expensive. I didn't know that. You know, you just kind of just going into it, and before you know it, you start spending more money. So yeah, that's pretty cool to hear. Cause my dumb ass, I went like the other route. I went like, oh, you know what? I love this. I'm gonna quit. But I was also denying jobs at that time because of my full-time job. So once that started happening, I kind of questioned myself. I'm like, I'm not gonna be making as much, because I was making technically 2 incomes right there. So I just said, well, you know what? Fuck it. Like, it is what it is. There's Uber, there's Lyft. There's always ways nowadays to get jobs. So that was like my backup, if anything. But thankfully, I never had to do a ride. But that I did have that backup.
I'm glad you said that, actually, because that is true. Like, for people that are trying to jump into it, trying to leave their job, or just curious about jumping into filmmaking, like, we live in a time where you can have these side hustles. You know, you can do Uber, you can do Uber Eats, you can do all kinds of different things and do it around your schedule. If you're booked up shooting, then do that. And then the time you're free, you can go do that kind of stuff. Like, there's no excuses, really. Like, there's no excuse why you can't jump in and do that. There really isn't.
I got a few questions for you now. And it's kind of cool that you did say all of that stuff, because, oh shit, let me fix this real quick. Didn't know I was this tall. Shit, all right, there we go. First off, I think it's really cool that you did make that jump, you know, because a lot of people don't want to make that jump. And like how you were saying, sometimes the smartest thing to do is wipe out your debt before you do that jump. That's something that I'm doing right now, where it's like, all right, let me wipe out whatever I got to do, right? But like, besides that, kudos to you for doing that. Kudos to you for doing that as well. I'm curious, how do you get inspired? What is it like? What movies or what art or what do you grab from the world that helps you get through the funks and everything?
Man, I mean, besides like just being grateful, like just gratitude in general, I would say just like a lot of things inspire me just walking into a room and seeing how the room looks, the aesthetic of it. You know, talking to people and listening to where they come from, what their background is, or just you know, or following other creators like Mario and like other people that inspire you with the work they're doing. And it's just a whole community. So I feel like I kind of get inspired from a lot of different little things. But the biggest thing I would say is the like day and age that we live in. Like, it's crazy, bro. Like, we live in an era right now during a period of time where the world is revolving around the shit we do. Like, the world revolves around video, and like everything is online, and you know, anything from small to a big brand needs what we do, or even artists or anything really. Like, the world revolves around what we're doing. But if we started this back in what, like the 90s, like, it was different. It was just you had to know people, you had to have connections, which you still kind of do today, but it's just you can build your own brand. You have YouTube, you have social media and stuff. So I think that in itself is inspiring. Like, dude, you're born in a time and you're living during a time where you can do that.
Sick, man. And it's really nice that you put it that way, because, you know, it's always interesting how you do get a different response from every other person. You know, I feel like, you know, if I were to ask that same question to like another artist, I'll just be like, oh, like, I look up to so-and-so, or I like to go to galleries and do all of this stuff and whatnot. And it's like, sometimes I feel like artists or creatives don't have to generally be in that bubble of like, I need to go to these things to be an artist, you know? Like, a lot of the inspiration that I get, and I know Mario has gotten in the past, is through basketball, sports, things that are just that call to you, you know? And it's like, that's a beautiful thing. And I feel like everyone needs to know that, where it's like, you don't have to be in this cookie cutter situation or system that you, like you said, like back in the 80s, 90s, they started to bestow everybody upon, where it's like, yo, like, in order to do this or XYZ, you got to do XYZ to, like, you know, make it all happen and whatnot. Going into the next question, knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself at the beginning?
Oh, that's a good question. Buckle up. Shit's gonna be crazy for real, because I kind of had what's the word, the best way to put it, like, I don't think the word ignorant is right, but I had an ignorant view at jumping into it. I just thought like, oh, you know, I'm gonna jump into it, and I was optimistic. I was a little bit overly optimistic, and I feel like if I gave myself a reality check a little bit more, I probably would have maneuvered a little bit different. But either way, you know, everything that I learned and kind of went through got me to where I'm at right now, which is, again, I'm not like in any type of certain position where I feel like I'm there, right? Because it's like a never-ending process.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to hear that, because again, it is an ever-ending process for us, you know, like, even when you feel like you've reached the pinnacle of whatever it is in your industry, there's always still going to be someone better than you, you know? And I think like being humble and at least accepting that humility is very key, because then it allows you to be like, you know what, this next project, I'm going to give it my all, you know? And going into another question that I'd like to know is, you know, how do you feel about your fellow peers when you see them trying to be a part of, you know, the situation, the industry? Like, do you feel like a lot of people within your area are doing it because they're passionate, or do you feel like they're doing it because they just want the clout, that instant fame kind of situation? Like, how do you see that, and how do you feel like it's going to project into the future?
I see a lot of all of that, like a mix of people that are passionate about it, people that love it, people that are doing it because it's something that really interests them and they want to bring value to people. But then there's the flip side of it, where people just, you know, just see, oh, I could just pick up a camera and charge people and just film people and like jump in and just do it, you know? And they're not really doing it because they like it. They're doing it because of other reasons, you know? And I mean, to each their own, but that's just my opinion on it. Like, I feel like if you're going to do something like this, which is a creative space, like, you have to like what you're doing, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, because there is a lot of sleepless nights that are involved with this, you know, and like, it's not to say that you always have to like, you know, like do the jump right away, because sometimes it is good to, like, if, like, for example, my situation, I work with a design agency that, you know, I'm very close with the owner. I get to learn a lot from him, business wise, art wise, and everything. And he's like so cool to the fact that he knows that I do these things on the side, where it's like, hey man, as long as it's like you're able to manage both, kudos, man, you know. And it's like being in environments like that, knowing that you can take and pull knowledge and bits of information from other realms. It's like, all right, cool. Like, I get to see how he does things. I get to see how Mario does things, how John does things, and everybody that comes in, and even yourself the other day when you did come in and you were helping out with the shoot, just to see how you were able to, like, you know, fix certain things or just accompany as Mario was shooting. It's like, all right, cool. That's, you know, that's interesting. You know, it's always really cool to see how other people gravitate towards it, and it shows that you're passionate about what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, you know, yeah, they say don't go straight to your passion, because that may end up doing certain things to you financially, but like, you know, if you love what you're doing, those sleepless nights, those endless hours, it doesn't really hurt you as bad, you know.
I mean, we're all gonna have those sleepless moments and hours regardless of what you do. Like, if you're doing a job, working in a job you don't like, you're gonna have sleepless nights. Like, you're not gonna escape that. Like, life is hard, you know. So I feel like might as well do something you like to do, right? And like figure out how you can make it work for you. Also, I want to kind of circle back to the question you asked me earlier. I don't think I answered it too well, but when you asked me what I dislike about the industry, for sure one big thing is working with people and like having people just like snakes, you know, people that are like out there like backstabbing people and like, you know, doing anything in their favor to get clients and stuff like that. I would say that would be one thing that I really dislike about it. But on the flip side, when you meet people that are in this industry that are creatives that aren't like that, and you meet people that, you know, you root for each other and you see each other, oh dude, that's dope, you just did that, oh that's sick, hey, I like what you did here, how did you do that? Like, it's so, I feel like that community should be like that, you know. And it's like those are the real people that are like actually doing what they like. So yeah, that's circling back to that. That's one thing I dislike about it.
So now the question that I have, as far as you, since you've been filmmaking, what's, out of all the things you've done, what's the one thing you could say like you hang your hat on, like you really enjoy the most, and follow that up with what's one thing that you hate the most?
I would say the thing I like the most so far is traveling, because I always liked to travel. Before I ever even traveled, I was like, oh, traveling looks so fun, looks cool. Actually, that's why I wanted to do marine biology, because, you know, science, and I thought I would be able to travel around doing that. But I would say the traveling part, like shooting a music video in Chicago and going to a whole new city and meeting new people and a new culture, and like you're filming that, or some other type of shoots that are not in the music video world. Because I've done a couple like travel videos, and those are really fun, like traveling to another country and like filming something for someone and having a whole project around that in like another place. So I would say the traveling part is my favorite, and meeting people that are ambitious, because, you know, you end up meeting artists that are ambitious, you end up meeting business owners that are very ambitious. So like that, you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people. And dislikes in the journey? That was the question, right?
In the journey,
in the journey,
like,
dislikes.
like, is there something that you dislike? Maybe like, man, I thought filmmaking was gonna be fun in this aspect, but you're not really you're not too happy with it and stuff.
To add to that, did you ever experience the cliche of your homies wanting to support you but not really supporting you financially or anything, always asking for like free shit, kind of things?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that I mean, that would be one of them, yeah. Because, you know, you get people that, I guess, view it differently, as opposed to like, oh, you do video production, you know, let me hire you to help me out, even though you're my family or my friend. That's like, oh shit, let's do it, you know. You don't get that a lot. Usually it's like, hey, can you hook it up? Or like, hey, I have this cool project, blah blah. Okay, cool. Like, what, do you have a budget? Like, what? Oh, you know, and you get like these weird reactions. It's just like,
have you ever had a family like pay for your service? That's the question that I want to ask.
No, I don't think so. No, I've never had.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because I've been doing this for maybe 6.5 years. And, you know, of course, till this day, I still do weddings because of my girl. She has the wedding company. She runs it. But even back then, you know, I had a lot of cousins graduate. A lot of cousins get married. A lot of family that will start a business. They never reached out. And one thing, I guess, now that you talked on that thing too, is I guess telling all creatives that you don't need your family to support you. You don't need your uncles, or if they're hiring other people, so what? Let it be. Let that fuel you. Let that motivate you. Because I at one point I was like, man, like, you know, it was eating me back then. I was like, dude, like, it's fucked up, you know? Like, you know, you can't hire me to film your wedding. Like, even if I charge $500 above the other one, like, it's more supporting rather than like, oh, I got to pay you. Especially if your work is good, you know? I feel like, you know, pay him, it's an extra $500. He is charging more than the other guy, but at the end of the day, he is someone in your family. So you don't need them. If you guys want to make it to somewhere, trust me, all you need is, I think someone said it not long ago. It's like, it's the people you don't know that are going to support you, and the people that know you are not going to support you. And, you know, you just meet better people on the way. I mean, now for me, at least, I don't know how it is with you. I mean, besides my mom and dad, right? All the people I'm close with now is just friends that I met in the filmmaking. It's not cousins and none of them. I you know, pushed them all to the side because it was fucked up what they did. It's like, not once did you guys hire me. You guys were hiring every other creative except for me. So I just pushed it aside, and I told myself, I don't need them. Watch me do this. And thankfully I've done it, you know, and I'm still doing it. So I think that's a strong, I honestly thought you probably would have got hired.
Yeah. No, dude, no. And now that I'm thinking about it, I did do my cousin's his proposal when he proposed to his girl. So I did do that, and he was like, oh, no, bro, I'm gonna pay you, and he respected that. So that was one time actually that I just thought of right now. It was a super simple, like, you know, him just proposing, short little video. But other than that, no. Yeah, but you're right though, you shouldn't rely on the support from your family right away, because I mean, it's just, I don't know why, you know, that's just how people are, I guess. Especially with like the entrepreneurial route, like, you don't get support at all.
Yeah,
ever. It's like, oh, you're doing your little videos.
Yeah, that's nice.
You got your little camera.
They view you as a joke,
and it's like, bro, like, I'm trying to build a business. I'm trying to do something.
You know, my cousins that I used to play basketball with when I was starting, they got mad because they would hit me up like, hey, bro, come play basketball, or hey, let's go to Buffalo Wild Wings. And I'm like, I'm editing. Like, oh, but you're working under your schedule. Like, you could just take off. I'm like, bro, how about tomorrow we go at 1 p.m. when you're on your work schedule? It's the same shit. I gotta have self-discipline. I can't just walk out. Like, I could technically, but no, it's the same thing as you're doing. You can't call out.
Yeah.
So why am I gonna call out my own job? You know. So
I feel like if someone isn't like running their own business or doing a side hustle, they're not gonna understand that, because it's more that you're seeing it differently. Like, you clock in, you clock out, and since they know you're not clocking in and clocking out technically, they're just like, well, you could just come. Like, could just come right now. Are you shooting? No, I'm not. Oh, well, just come. Like, let's go hang out. Let's go do this. I can't. Like, I'm editing, or I'm planning for tomorrow's shoot, or I'm charging batteries and doing this and that, and like, or all of the above. Like, you're doing everything. Like, you're doing accounting. You're literally doing everything when you're starting off, you know? So I think it's not, there's one thing I learned though. It's not, I try to not to hold that against people when they do that. I just try to relate more like, okay, well, they just don't understand, and I'm just gonna ignore it. It's still annoying, but you know, I try to like look away and just be like, you know what, it's just, they don't understand. I didn't know when I jumped into it what was gonna happen, like the reality of it, you know? So I kind of try to look at it that way.
all right, so I guess you have any last question you want to tell them before we wrap this up?
For the people out there, what's the best advice that you could give them?
I mean, you've probably heard this. It's funny. A lot of cliche things are actually very true, because you hear it so much, but people don't apply them. You just hear it and you're just like, oh yeah, I've heard that before. I would say just do it. Like, if you want to do something, even if it's not even filmmaking. I know a lot of people watching this probably are trying to, or starting, or already doing filmmaking, but in anything in general, like, if you have something in you that you feel like you want to do and achieve, like, don't belittle it and be like, oh, I can't do that. Oh no, I'm busy. Oh, I have these other things going on. Like, just figure out a way to do it. I would say that's it. And then you'll be more happy. Like, of course, stress comes with that, but you'll be more happy in the long run doing whatever it is that you wanted to do. So I would say that would be the biggest thing I would say.
Okay. And then last question here to wrap it up too is, where do you see yourself as a creative 2 years from now? Where do you want to be, or what will make you happy 2 years from now? Or like, or even if, let's say, it doesn't, just somewhere where you want to be at. Like, what's something that's eating you right now? That like, man, I want to be there. Like, where do you see yourself in 2 years? Like, what would you like to be doing?
I would like to just have a business. Like, I feel like right now I'm not, I don't have a business yet. I just, I own my job right now. Like, I get shoots, I go on shoots, I do all kinds of things, but I want to actually have a business and have a team. Like, I feel like that would be the thing I want to do in 2 years.
Great answer. Great answer. All right.
Because right now it's just like the beginning phases, like,
Yeah, it's just you got to freelance, you got to do everything until, you get to that next level. Yep. Okay, cool. So that pretty much does it for today, man. First of all, appreciate you for coming by.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Dude, it was good. I learned a lot, bro, which is good. So, yeah, if you guys liked anything or have any other comments, feel free to leave it below. We'll go ahead and answer that. And, yeah, till next time, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Raw Talk today, we had Jose. This guy will be the co-host going forward. Roger, today, what's your Instagram, by the way, in case people want to check your workout?
It's Rcv_Media.
All right, You guys heard it there. All right, peace out, guys.
See you guys.